Hey, this is Joe from Citrus County Porch Life bringing you the AA word of the day for January 21st, 2025. It's a Tuesday, and the word for today is serving my brother. And here's the quote: "The member talks to the newcomer not in a spirit of power, but in a spirit of humility and weakness." That is from the book Alcoholics Anonymous Comes of Age, page 279. That's another great part of AA literature, talking about the development of Alcoholics Anonymous from just when it was talking to people in hospital beds, to home meetings, to meetings in churches. Churches were critical for this to get to the start. Many of the early leaders, not the founders, but the leaders, were religious people, and it's a very strong story. And here's the daily reflection. As the days pass in AA, I ask God to guide my thoughts and the words that I speak. In this labor of continuous participation in the fellowship, I have numerous opportunities to speak. So I frequently ask God to help me watch over my thoughts and my words, that they may be true and proper reflections of our programs, to focus my aspirations once again, to seek his guidance to help me be truly kind and loving, helpful and healing, yet always filled with humility. And free from any trace of arrogance, today I may very well have to deal with disagreeable attitudes or utterances, the typical stock and trade attitude of the still suffering alcoholic. If this should happen, I will take a moment to center myself in God so that I will be able to respond from a perspective of composure, strength, and sensibility. Very powerful words. And the one word, excuse me, get coffee. I made a pot yesterday and I'm finishing it off today. I put it in the refrigerator when I went to bed. I percolate. Who did I percolate when I was drinking? Someone got me mad. I'd be percolating away, waiting for revenge. I think one of the words that comes through this so much is humility. Uh, it's not a very popular word because people think that, you take all kinds of abuse, people don't respect you. But when you show true humility, I think you get a lot of, and you're not judgmental. You get a lot of respect, even from the newcomers. Some of them resist it first, but eventually, like me, come around. And this person that spoke in the reflections spoke about, he or she was got some lip from typical stock and trade attitude of the still suffering alcoholic. Now, one of the things we say about AA is that we're forever non-professional. I did have a job on a psych unit, and I can tell you, when I led meetings on the psych unit, not these were AA meetings, these were not professional where, you know, I'm the I'm the person in charge and you're the underlings. It wasn't that at all. It was an AA meeting. And there were, people that were very resistant, one, to being there. Most of them were there not by choice. Many were court mandated. So it was a difficult situation. They'd rather be watching TV than being told to go to an AA meeting. And some of the people, after their stay, whatever the insurance allowed them to do, and make sure that they were physically okay and not in active withdrawal, they would come up and thank me. But you always have to remain, uh, you know, humble. I'm in the same position as them. And now, when I'm talking about the meeting, I did not share the meetings at the hospital that I worked in, but I was a volunteer at another hospital. The whole hospital was a psych hospital in Providence, Rhode Island. So that my position at the hospital I worked in, I wasn't at all ever referencing that I was Joe and I'm an alcoholic. Uh, but as it is, some of the people, they kind of migrate between hospitals when they're discharged. So some of them knew that I worked at another hospital, but I always approached it as a non-professional and as they tell us to do. And sometimes it's hard. Like this person says, I have to pause and ask my higher power for power, and that's what you do. We learn to do it several times a day. When you're ready to explode at a red light, or you're driving down just minding yourself and someone's behind you beeping and you're in the non-passing lane and they want to get ahead of you. They want you to go faster so they can zig in and out of the traffic. Or as I mentioned yesterday, being in the supermarket and not being able to get up and down the lanes blocked by one person. Uh, there's there's a whole. I do not go to, and this isn't a criticism. I don't go to what's a famous coffee chain, Starbucks, because it pushes my buttons and I know it, so I just avoid it. It takes too long to get a coffee, and when I'm looking for one, I just want a regular coffee. And some people, coffee takes 15 to 20 minutes to make, and I'm not into that. So I just, uh, I used to try to get them. They in Rhode Island they had them in Targets. I don't, not too many Targets around here, so I don't know if it's down here. But I just used to have to say I'll get it at Dunkin' Donuts or something. The wait drove me crazy. Oh, they had them in Barnes and Noble too, and that's not saying their coffee's not good. It's good, but I know it triggers me, and I avoid those situations. So, and when we're talking one-on-one with a newcomer or someone coming back, I try every single time not to take the high road. Just emphasize that we're both sick and suffering alcoholics, and de-emphasize any kind of length of sobriety, but just tell them all things are possible when you're sober. That's my approach to it. Because really, humility is the cornerstone of this whole program. We're all the same. We're all there for the same reason. We may have different problems emanating from our alcoholism, Many have legal family health problems, but we're all alcoholics, and no one is higher than the other. So I think I'll cut it short. We're already 10 minutes, and I don't like to make long videos because I know people are busy. And when I share at a meeting, I can they can say, "Oh, you can go on for 20 minutes," but I don't think it's good for this kind of format. So God bless. Have a safe and sober Tuesday, and see you tomorrow.